Fox News has found its greatest enemy, and it is itself, at least according to Vanity Fair. Now, Gabriel Sherman, in a recent article, talked about the management bedlam at the organization, which is always fun. Now, it came to a head, basically, last week when a guest of a Trump supporter uh, named Tucker Carlson, a little bit of you might have heard of him. He's a Trump supporter, very vocal on the network. Now, he decided to go after Andrew Napolitano. Now, this is not Tucker Carlson. This was Joe DiNagovia, right? I don't know if I said that right. But he went after Napolitano, who's also a Fox News host, called him a fool. Now, Napolitano is a conservative, but he actually does have principles. He recently backed impeachment of President Trump. Last Tuesday, Napolitano, when he was on a guest of another show, said it is a crime for the president to solicit aid for his campaign from a foreign government. Now, that should not be a controversial statement. That is a true statement because that is the law. 100% true. But Joe DiGenova, who is famous for look, I've never heard of him, but apparently he's famous in the right wing for coming up with various conspiracy theories, which is always fun. He said that Napolitano was a fool. Oh, okay. Look, I think that's mild criticism, but whatever. But as far as being a fool, so only fool, like if you quote the law, you are somehow a fool when it comes to Donald Trump. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, following this, Shep Smith went after Tucker Carlson for not correcting his guest. Fox News, the network, went after Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry, not after Tucker Carlson. Went after Smith for going after Tucker Carlson. This all happened in the space of about 2 to 3 days. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So now you also had a familiar name pop up in this story, one that we've haven't heard in quite some time. Now, who is that? Well, that would be former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Oh, okay, Paul Ryan. So now Paul Ryan apparently joined the board of Fox News back in March of this year. So now Paul Ryan feels like now he's in the position to do something. In fact, an executive close to Ryan said Paul is embarrassed about Trump, and now he has the power to do something about it. Okay. Now he's got the power to do something about it. That's interesting. Not when he was in government, not when he was passing pretty much every single policy proposal that President Trump put on the table. No, he didn't have the power to stop Trump then. But now that he got tax cuts for the rich, for his donors, for himself, and is no longer in government with any sort of real power, now he feels like he can finally take on Donald Trump. Whoa. Well, then. Look, I said a long time ago that Republicans will start to abandon Donald Trump after the tax cuts were passed, right? So now that was some time ago that the tax cuts had gotten passed. Well, now here's Paul Ryan saying, I'm embarrassed. Okay, well, again, he's out of government now. Like a lot of people, and by the way, a lot of Republicans have resigned related to Donald Trump. They no longer have the energy or desire to, help Donald Trump, to protect Donald Trump. They got the tax cuts. They worked with him. They got their donors. Their donors were happy. And so they said, okay, we're done. Like, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be out there defending President Trump because he's an absolute epic disaster. Okay. So now Ryan, to be fair, he was a bit critical of President Trump during candidate Trump during the primary. But then, like most Republicans, he bowed down, kissed his ass. And that's because the base loves Donald Trump, and Republicans, their politicians are afraid of the base, and they're afraid of the donors. Trump is starting to lose both. Now, look, are there Trump diehards that will never stop supporting it? Of course. But we have some in the chat right now that are trolling me. Don't care. God bless. Right? Have fun. But look, he's lost. The Republican Party has lost the Chamber of Commerce. They will not back Republicans. They will not back Donald Trump anymore. The Chamber of Freaking Commerce. They're like, no, we'll either stay neutral or we're going to back Democrats in 2020 if it's not Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. So they've lost a lot of donors. What they basically have now is still the Mercers, right? They still have the Mercer family, which of course supports Donald Trump to a T, and will continue to do so. But where are the rest of the donors? They're starting to back away because they do not want to be connected to Trump and the current Republican Party. So now, what's worse for Trump is now Fox News sees the writing on the wall. They are slowly abandoning ship, really slowly. Now, a person close to Lachlan told Sherman that Fox News has, quote, been the highest rated cable network for 17 years, and the success has never depended on any one administration. Now, that is Lachlan Murdoch, by the way. So, yeah, that's one of the guys that is now heading News Corp, which is the parent company of Fox News. So here's what they're doing. They're getting ready for a post-Trump era. They know it's coming. Look, even if Trump wins re-election, there will still be a post-Trump era. The fact that they're getting ready for it now, because you have impeachment, because you have Donald Trump's disastrous polling in many of the swing states, just many of the states as well as general election matchups. He loses to Joe Biden. He loses to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Most Democrats he ends up losing to in general matchups. So they're looking at this and they're internally panicking. And I don't blame them. I'm not surprised. Now, on Friday, this got worse. Hannity went after the Ukraine investigation. He said it was a never-ending, unceasing hysteria, lies, hoaxes, conspiracy theories, and a real clear present danger to this republic. That's Hannity. And then, of course, you had Chris Wallace on the other side saying that the astonishing and deeply misleading narrative that Trump's defenders have been using, he's been going after that narrative, which is funny because behind closed doors, Hannity is telling his associates that the whistleblower scandal is really bad for Donald Trump. So Hannity has a public position and a private position, allegedly. Now, another funny thing, those talking points that were accidentally emailed to Democrats have been used on Fox News for, multiple times. Hannity, Giuliani. Look, I showed you in one of last week's shows. Those are the talking points. Now we have people out there actually using them. So here you have the network that's kind of tearing itself apart. Now, the Hollywood Reporter's Jeremy Barr wrote that all of this is, quote, exacerbating the long-simmering tensions between the news and opinion side of the network, both of which, of course, are conservative, obviously, and there's nothing wrong with that, with having a conservative perspective. We have a progressive perspective, and we're honest about that. We're open about that. Fox News is allowed to have their perspective, but even that perspective is tearing itself apart because here you have actual journalists and Fox News. People like Chris Wallace, who are deeply Republican, they still believe in journalism. And so, look, here's the thing. Let me give you the quote here from Barr. There's always been a gap between the network's news and opinion wings, but people who appear on Fox News tell the Hollywood Reporter that the chasm has recently been growing. Now, let me give you another quote here from Carl Cameron, who spent 20 years at Fox News and left as the network's chief political correspondent. Said he used to take the brunt of the opinion wing. I was routinely roughed up by the primetime hosts. It was clear that the entertainment side was at odds with the news department only if you lived in the middle of it. So, well, that's interesting, right? Interesting context into the fight that they've always had. But again, that divide has gotten much, much bigger in the Trump era. So now, what does this mean for Fox News? Well, it doesn't mean the death of the network, obviously. They're not going to fall apart, but it is very clear that there's a big rift between a lot of these hosts. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Donald Trump actually does successfully get impeached or removed, right? which would be huge, huge. But remember, 35 Republicans said they would back impeachment in the Senate. They would vote for impeachment if there were a secret ballot. Now, that's not going to happen, but anyway. If that happened, Trump would probably try to start up Trump TV. And you know what he would probably do? Hire all the pro-Trump personalities from Fox News. That's what I see happening. Remember, he already tried Trump TV with that Sarabian guy. Sarabian or whatever, right? There's no reason to think that if he could, he'd try it again. He'd hire Sean Hannity, Judge Jeanine Pirro, anyone else who's unhappy with the actual, news portion of Fox News, where they actually do try to do straight news and some modicum of journalism. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.